To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Bored housewives, so they're generally hitting the Moscato too because they need something sweet in their lives because their husband is sour. That ring on your finger? Some pygmy died digging that out of a hole for you to say I do and ruin some guy's like, look at that dude. He's got a hernia shaped like a bag of pretzels that he just ate. You're going to Thailand? You're going to smash some dude. Going over there for guy time, but it's not with his buddies. What does it say on the bottle? Well, if it says that on the bottle, why did you put it on your head? All these actors did was shut their mouths because they didn't want to be run out of Hollywood. Now a bad batch of Chinese food has you blowing insurance premiums on vitamin fucking D.
Really? Too much.
That's what we're
I
going
sound like
for
Bill
here.
Maher. Really, John?
Really?
We can't do this anymore, Auntie. I'll see you at the bar mitzvah. It's almost like it never existed, but it fucking did. So do me a favor. Go yourself. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the sandbox. Like, subscribe, share. Positivesarcasm.com for all your whatever needs. What am I missing? Oh, yeah, positivesarcasm.com/donate if you want to support the podcast, the posing music, the YouTube channels, the Instagram reels, the whatever. The whole thing, the whole spare parts empire. Just go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. If you want to contact me, you can go right to my website, hit the contact page. There's also the Webull affiliate link there, the Cash app, the Acorns app, or you can just contact me directly. positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Subject, whatever you want it to be. Even if it's a death threat. There we go. There we go. Little soothing. Little soothing of the throat. Okay, I'm better. Sorry, I'm a little flustered. It's been a long week of, we had some crazy storms. This is my first time by the seacoast experiencing the winter coming upon us. And the waves, the amount of water hitting, I mean, North Beach, Genesee Beach, weren't there no mo. They were gone. They're gone. Like, it's just there's waves. There was a guy who parked. He parked his Mustang. It was a V6, so it's technically not a Mustang. Parked it right up on the shoreline there, where where you walk down to actually go to the sand. And he pulled in, and a massive wave just blew up his whole front end. Just came crashing down and landed on the top of his, literally, right over the top of his convertible roof. It was brilliant. I mean, even I know better. Oh, I'm just gonna watch the sunrise. There's no fucking sun out, stupid. But there, like in the regular beach, the giant main beach that we have, was half flooded. Like all the walkway, most of the walkways, that take you down to the beach were all puddled with water. And yes, I am aware that I do currently live in a flood zone, but I am taking tabs to keeping tabs up. I'm keeping tabs on it and taking precautions to make sure that there's not an issue there for my vehicles, for my home, and of course for my best friend, who I'm a little flustered today also because he came down with some type of eye booger stuff, which is pretty much the same. It's basically doggy conjunctivitis. And, me as a four-legged, a father of a four-legged son, it gets me very, you guys know if you watch some of my older stuff that I get really emotional when it comes to Chase. And I mean, the first thing I did, I watched it yesterday, and then his eyes got red today, and I was like, oh boy. So thankfully, his nose has been great. His nose is, like I said, like I'm a first-time dad, basically, so I'm freaking out over every little thing, justifiably so, because I don't want anything to happen to him. Nothing. He shouldn't have any type of discomfort whatsoever. And so his eyes are a little red. But his eyelids are not swollen, but he is having some a little bit of green discharge coming from his eyes. Not a lot, but enough to bother him. And I don't want him to feel like he is irritated, so he's constantly rubbing his face. But so, I mean, the first thing I did when I got home today is after a walk, we went right to the pet store. We ran in there, and I got some like aloe vera, lavender chamomile eye wash. I got eye cleaner around the edges, which you use with like a little Q-tip. I got the saline cleaner, which is like a drop that you put in his eye, so it keeps his eyes nice and clear. And of course, I got the drippy stuff, which is filled with like chamomile and all that other stuff that's good for dogs' eyes. Standard holistic stuff, but the stuff you do use to keep his eyes clean and debris free, so there's no swelling, there's no irritation, and therefore he doesn't rub his eyes, and then will allow keeping it clean to allow the virus that's and the bacteria that's in his eyes to run its course, so that there's no damage. Because if you just let it go and it can get worse, it can cause swelling, which can cause blindness, and it can also get it from his eyes down into his nose. And if it's in his nose, then you got a real problem. Because conjunctivitis can get bad if it gets into your nasal passages or into your ear passages. Then you have a slew of problems. I don't want to take that risk, not with him, not in any way, shape, or form. So right now he's resting. And he hasn't rubbed his eyes at all. And as far as I know, I'm going to double check his eyes in a minute to make sure they're clean. But I mean, as far as I'm considered, like I think I'm trying to do everything right. I am. I'm truly trying to do everything right by him before having to, I'm sure it's. I'm not gonna assume that it's no big deal. I'm not. I'm just not in that position to say that. When it comes to doctors, they can go screw themselves. When it comes to vets and it comes to animal nutritionists, I pay attention. That's different. Dogs are a different breed. You don't give your dogs antidepressants, but if you need to, you can give your dogs antibiotics and things like that. But they generally do heal themselves quite quickly. They do take care of themselves quite well as long as they're healthy, happy dogs. And they get a lot of exercise, and they get fed well. And these are all things that happen with him. It's just one of those things that it happened, and I'm jumping right on it. I'm jumping right on it to see if I can take care of it over the course of the week. And but if it does get worse for some reason, it doesn't go away, I will go to the next measure. I won't hesitate. Anything for him. I don't care. You guys know. Doesn't matter what the price. Doesn't care how long it takes. I will assure his best life is lived for sure. So, that being said, if you want to support his health and wellness, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. I got a link for regarding Robinhood. Robinhood is the trading app that stormed onto the screen back in the late 2010s. With its ease of use, and believe me, ease of use, swing day trading, but really got notoriety when it started screwing over investors, or regarding the the whole situation regarding AMC and BlackBerry and of course GameStop and that whole fiasco. So what they did on one of the day, because what happened was they were trying. I mean, I won't get too technical, but the GameStop, the Wall Street Bets people were trying to screw over the hedge funds that were running the overshorted poor GameStop stock, and trying to squeeze them for all their money, which they successfully did. They required a $2 billion infusion to keep the hedge fund going. When this was happening, it was a few specific days, one in particular, where Robinhood was, because of their connection with the the firm that raises the capital and the hedge fund, Robinhood restricted the buying of any more GameStop stocks on that day. You could only sell. So, and you knew that if you were going to sell it, it went to the hedge funds, or this one hedge fund in particular. So there was a lot of this shit show is still playing out as we speak, whether it be in the stock market or in the courts. But that being said, a lot of people started turning their attention away from Robinhood and started looking into other investment apps or trading apps such as Coinbase or Webull or other trading apps. I know there were other trading apps that also did restrict trading on that day, but it did push a lot of people away from Robinhood, or at least split their time between trading. And Robinhood has still been trying to, they've been slow to the chase when it comes to trading crypto. Is another reason I actually switched from Robinhood to Webull, was their ability on Webull, like, oh, we're introducing 4 coins that you can trade on our app, and now and then they introduced Doge, and then they introduced Shiba Inu, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. But Webull has been surprisingly accommodating. Now, the main topic before I jump into some other health and wellness type stuff was Robinhood announced earlier this year that they were going to get an IPO. They were going to be a publicly traded company in order to raise capital. So this pissed a lot of people off. And it's funny, I got the link, and I actually decided not to go with the link. I went with the we'll just take a look at the ticker just for laughs. So let you know that if you're a good company, people will buy your stock. They have faith in your company and they want you to succeed. That's what GameStop's all about. That's why a lot of people still own GameStop. They refuse to sell. They want to see the company succeed. They didn't want to see the company go out of business. That's why GameStop is still around and, well, doing quite well. As far as Robinhood, well, their initial IPO started around 33, rose to 85, and this is only since August. And then very, very quickly, down they went. I mean, there was a quick rise, and then, like an 18-year-old boy in his first time, really came back for a little bit, back up to 46, then, and then fucking 20% gone. So its peak from its initial profit of 33.25, peaking at 85, and then since in the last 3 months, it has just fell below its initial profit offering. Well, you get what you deserve. That's just how it is in life. And I don't know what else is in store for them, but the way that they were treating their customers, just like the way Facebook treats its, users, is very similar. They just use the data, and apparently, I mean, there was some rumors of Robinhood doing front running and other stuff that was committing securities fraud. But like I said, it's all speculative. A lot of insider trading and illegal trading and all that other kind of bullshit happens in the stock market all the time. I don't know. A lot of words were thrown around, and there was a federal inquiry. There was a committee hearing. There was all kinds of stuff. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but I know there was an outcry for regulation for a while. But at this point, nothing. It's just they had a profits. They brought their company to market, and they've just been flattening. Here's the thing. They can continue to drop for a while. There is a point, though, that if they don't hold their stock, if their stock value continues to drop, they will be removed from their listing. Their listing will be removed. Like, for example, if you're in the S&P 500, or you're in the NASDAQ, or you're in the Russell, if your stock price falls below a certain amount, they'll take you out of that listing, because that listing has an index, and that index goes into portfolios, and those portfolios go into retirements and pensions and other things. And if your stock is hurting the value of that index or that portfolio or that pension, that index will kick you out because your stock sucks and you're hurting the value of it. So if Robinhood continues to fall, they can do one of two things. They can either do a reverse split. Well, do a reverse split where they take 4 of your stocks and they combine them into one stock. So you have a $5 stock Then you take 4 of them, you smash them together, you got a $20 stock. The only problem is that pisses off investors when you do a reverse split. It upsets them greatly. So you do that reverse split, it goes down to $20. It can fall again. It can fall even more. And then their option 2 is the second option, a better option, is be a better company. Acknowledge your errors in some way, shape, or form that legally doesn't get you into a shitload of trouble. Open up crypto for all users, including Shiba Inu, and just be a better app. Just be a better app in general. But, you could say this is your options. They'll never take it. And that's why a lot of people are switching over to different trading apps. In the meantime, this one was a tasty one. This is regarding a company that I used to work for. So this is from topclassactionlawsuits.com. They are the watchdog for all class action settlements, whether they are small or large. And a lot of these class action lawsuits are available to the general public. Anybody who is a consumer of services or goods, or even beyond that, if you worked for a company or you had credit checks or identity theft, or a victim of identity theft, this is a website for you. Top Class Action Lawsuits. Always check in it. I check it every day. But this is regarding United Healthcare. United Healthcare is I believe a subsidiary. It's a branch, of a larger company called United Health Group. Shit, I think they're so big they own John Deere. So, the consumer nationwide these consumers nationwide who were overcharged as a result of United Healthcare's tiered reimbursement policy after receiving behavioral health services from an out-of-network professional, may be eligible for compensation thanks to a recent $10 million class action lawsuit. Settlement class members include individuals who are covered by an employee-sponsored United Healthcare group plan and received behavioral health services from an out-of-network psychologist or master's level counselor or social worker between November 22nd, 2013 and this year, August 11th. So 8 years. And chances are in 2020 and in early 2021, a lot of people were hitting the behavioral health specialist thing. These individuals are subject to the United's tiered reimbursement policy. Plaintiffs allege UHC's tiered reimbursement policy unfairly and improperly reduced the benefit amounts for certain behavioral health services that were out of network. At least according to them, it's out of network. According to the class action lawsuit, services for psychologists were reportedly reduced by 25%, while master's level counselors and social workers got reduced by 25% to 35%. The plaintiffs say the company's actions were a violation of the Employee Retirement Security Act of 1974, ERISA, and the Federal Mental Health Parity Law. UHC, which serves people in all 50 states, and by the way, this is one of the largest health insurance companies in the United States, according to the company website, denies all allegations made by the plaintiffs, obviously, because it's easier to just pay out and walk away and not admit any wrongdoing. Pfizer, I believe, did the same thing. The court has not reviewed the facts surrounding the case, and they have not made a ruling in this situation. Instead, both parties have reached an agreement. All parties involved believe the proposed settlement is in the best interest of everyone involved. According to the proposed class action settlement agreement, the company will pay out over $10 million. Eligible class members will receive a pro rata share of the funds remaining after all other fees are deducted from the settlement fund. The exact amount of this payment will vary and will only cover a portion of the alleged underpayment of benefits. Class members who are eligible to receive less than $15 will not receive any payment. On top of that, the company that has agreed not to reinstate the tiered reimbursement policy. Eligible class members do not need to take action to receive their share of the settlement. Class members who disagree with the settlement agreement but wish to remain in the settlement class have the right to object to the current agreement. Right. Class members who do not... I don't speak lawyer. That's why I bought a lawyer this year. Class members who do not wish to remain in the class action settlement, in the settlement class, but want to retain the right to sue this company must exclude themselves from this action from this class action lawsuit. The deadline to opt out is November 22nd, 2021. A final fairness hearing is scheduled to take place on December 16th of this year. No claim form is required. Now, who is eligible for this? All right, class members who include individuals who are covered by an employee-sponsored United Healthcare group plan and receive behavioral health services from an out-of-network psychologist or master's level counselor or social worker between November 22nd, 2013 and August 11th, 2021. These individuals were subject to the United's tiered reimbursement policy. So, like I said, the potential reward varies, and there's no proof of purchase necessary. So if it's in your medical records, they'll know. So, behavioral health, obviously, if you're going to talk about your inner, when it comes to anything, if you have problems with your liver, or you want your own primary care physician, you want a good one, chances are you're going to go to an out of net. Your favorite doctor may be out of network. Your favorite psychologist, your favorite behavioral health specialist may be as well. And even though United Healthcare is literally like number 2, I think, in the United States, there's still a lot of great doctors that are not covered by them. Straight up. They consider it out of network for whatever reason. For whatever reason. Even the freaking rich and famous still have this problem. Because they get health insurance too. And they still run into this problem. Now, when it comes to behavioral health, I think that, right now it's an important thing. A lot of people really do need behavioral health specialists. They also need nutritionists. I think these are two of the most important things. Somebody who can help you physically get back on track, nutrition-wise, somebody who can get you mentally on track. I think these are things that should be explored and expanded. And I don't think they should be considered out of network. But I know this company. I know this company very well from how they treated their employees when it comes to metrics, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to how they reacted to the market, how they reacted to the market in 2008, how they reacted to their market, and how they treated outside employees, how they treated not outside employees, how they treated just their employees in general. I mean, they were one of the first. They were a company that started going out. They started funding overseas, India, Philippines. So they pushed some shit offshore. They also had layoffs in 2008. 2008, 2009. Like a lot of people did, but they jumped the gun because they actually had to rehire people back because there was a lot of work to be done. So it was a very foolish move. Very foolish move. And I went back. Because it's been I've never been laid off before, so you take it personally. But I went back. Now, as far as what we made with that company, it was awful. This was true corporate bullshit in all of its glory. And this company made you not give a fuck about your job more than probably any other company you could possibly imagine. This was we're talking low tier bullshit. They had large group processors who didn't make any money, some of their best phone reps who didn't make any money, some of their best auditors who didn't make any money, their best small group processors who didn't make any money. We're talking about when you didn't make any money. Back in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. First of all, people were not getting raises, and if they were, it was pennies. Fucking pennies. I was hired on. I was making $1,000 more than somebody with a 4-year bachelor's degree, and we were hired at the same time. At the same time, I was making $1,000 more than him. And he had a full 4-year boat. And then I was released and then brought back at the same pay. 6.5 years. With this company, I didn't get one raise. None. All they did was keep raising the quality metrics. All they did was keep feeding me great corporate jargon about, you make such a difference. You make such a huge difference. You guys matter to the community. Really? Do we? I don't fucking think so. I mean, they would bring in these guys, these sales guys from New York who are making fucking shit tons of money just to sell the product. And they'd come in there just rolling. I mean, these were like true New York lunatics. And they would just roll in there with their high priced material, and we were savages to them. We were fucking peasants. God bless you, Annie, and God bless Robinhood. We were the peasants. We were the complete peasants to them. People making less than $12 an hour. I remember there was one old lady. She'd been there for years. I think like a decade. She's making $11.87 an hour. So, I mean, bonkers. And their metric systems kept getting worse and worse and worse because they would allow them to justify not paying anybody. Oh, you didn't meet your metrics? Oh, okay. Well, then you don't qualify for any payment increases. It's like, all right, whatever. And on top of that, what else? Oh, yeah, towards the end, towards the latter of the late 2010s, they were all only cared about basically. They said they were trying to save the customer, the patient money, but all they were doing was removing a lot of the quality checks from the audits and stuff like that, so that they didn't have to jump through as many hoops, just to speed up the process. Who cares if you fucked up on their paperwork, didn't spell their name right or whatever? As long as there's no increase in the cost of the payment plan, it didn't matter. Just rush it through. Don't bother with the audits. Don't worry about it. Just send it. And that was getting worse and worse. It used to be you would get audited on every single piece of every single process that you did, and then it got cut. It got cut to like a tenth of that. So it was clear to me, and prices, regardless of whatever Affordable Care Act or whatever, prices were going up. Prices were going up hundreds of dollars a year, sometimes thousands. Prices just skyrocketed. They were introducing cheaper plans. They just squeezing it for whatever reason. They didn't care. These companies like United Healthcare and Blue Cross Blue Shield or whomever, a lot of these companies control how you get to visit your doctor. They do. They have it-then scenarios that are based on, well, the insurance company will be like, well, we're not going to pay him. We're not going to pay the patient's deductible or whatever if you bill it like this. If you bill it like that, we'll cover it. Oh, and they can only do this twice a year, blah, 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 blah. They control the narrative. And the hospitals are forced to basically do nothing but say, sorry, you can't come, otherwise you're paying out of pocket. So the hospitals are in and out at this point. There was, and the way they do layoffs is fucking terrible there. For sure. Factual. The way United Healthcare does layoffs is awful. There's 3 instances I can tell you about. One is mine. When I was on vacation and I got a phone call saying that I was terminated. Straight up. Phone call. Leave it right at that. Gone for 6 months. Never got a raise there. The second was somebody who left. He went. This was one of their directors who worked out of, I think, the Buffalo branch, and basically one day just ran around dragging people into, according to a forum I read, dragging people into rooms and just firing them, laying them off. I mean, just person after person after person after person. For whatever reason. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't work at the Buffalo branch. But just that type of, slaughterhouse-like mentality from the directors who make a ton of money. This person actually went on to go work for this state's largest hospital, and I think is still there to this day. But went from UHC to this state's largest hospital. So it just goes to show you, it's like, okay, well, you're fucking over people from this angle in healthcare. Now you're fucking over people in this angle in healthcare. Great. Let's hire them. So that was another way that they laid people off, just by dragging them into a room and blowing their head off. And finally, the third, I can't say her name. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. I love her to pieces. I wish I met her in another life. and maybe someday I will. The way they laid her off, she was working from home, and they pinged her because they would send her an instant message, and they said, hey, give us a call real quick, and they said, okay. She said, let me finish this audit, and then I'll give you a call. And they said, no problem, finish what you got to do. And then she called, and they said, you're done. You don't have a job no more. Here's your severance. Fuck off. And I'm like, so I mean, you finished what you were doing, and then you got laid off, and you got pinged? It's like, I would take the fucking computer and throw it out the fucking window. Basically, when I was done with my last job and I had my work from home gear, they're like, okay, make sure you clear that you return your shit. Fuck that. I threw all my shit in a box, walked to the front door, and dumped it right on the front door, and I was out of there. I'm like, you fucking deal with this. This isn't my problem anymore. You know? Peace. As far as, yeah, I love it. You get a phone call. You put your ass on the line every day to work for these goddamn companies, and they just call you and be like, yeah, you're good. Take care. You're all set. Whether it's because they're pushing shit overseas, they're just trying to cut costs, but it's like, what the fuck? It makes you never want to work for one of these companies. You really don't. Because you see how they treat their this is how they treat their employees. Well, it's no different with how they treat their customers. It really, not in my opinion, no. From what I've seen, from what I've experienced, from how I process there, no. I didn't sign an NDA when I left. I didn't at all. And basically, if you went at that point when I was leaving and others were leaving, you put in your 2 weeks notice, they send you packing that day. They don't let you work your last 2 weeks with dignity. They just send you out the door. Do you get your 2 weeks? Yeah, but I put it in my farewell letter that, you know, if for any reason my dismissal is immediate, make damn sure that 2 weeks is in there. Because if it's not, here's the thing: if you don't put if you put in your notice and then they just fire you on the spot and they don't pay you, guess what? It's gonna set it up to the point where, well, if people know that they're not gonna get paid, then they're not gonna put in their 2 weeks. They're just gonna quit. They're just gonna quit. And imagine trying to find help right now when you're that shitty of a company. In my opinion, when you're that fucking dog shitty of a company, and you can't imagine trying to find help right now. Imagine the signing bonuses and the pay that you have to put out right now just to get the help. And believe me, there's only so much automation you can do, especially at companies like these. I've seen how the automation works at some of these companies, and there's only so much you can do. And the amount of metrics. First of all, I get it. I know I talked about metrics being out of control, but it was metrics. Metrics was being used for all the wrong reasons. So people didn't even care about actually helping the customer. They only cared about hitting the markers on the metrics. That's it. That's all they cared about, was hitting the markers on the metrics. Nothing else mattered. They hit the markers on the metrics, they make their bonuses, they keep their job, and that's it. Fuck the customer. Fuck the customer. And that's how it was. And then why would we give a shit? We worked just hard enough not to get fired. And believe me, after I think my 4th year there, I just stopped fucking caring. I just surfed around on the internet. I looked at whatever I want. I played fucking video games. I did barely enough work. Didn't even show up to meetings. Didn't give a shit. I was on like a final corrective action for like fucking, I think like a year. I was on corrective action when I got laid off and when I came back. And I was probably going to get fired like 2 weeks later anyways. Because if they wanted you out, they'd fucking kick you out. They wanted you out. They just set it up so that you keep getting more errors. Your quality goes down. You go on corrective action. And the next thing you know, you're on death's door. That's how these companies work. They want you out. You're out. They up the metrics. They shit on you. And then the next thing you know, you're a broken human being. And it shows on your resume that you were fired. So why do it? Why put up with this shit? Why would you do it? Why would you go and bother work for at the same time, people need to work. I get it. People need to get out their fucking asses and go to work. At the same time, this is not the work you need to be going to. This is a foundation of just utter bullshit. This is stuff that you not need to be wasting your time with. This is something maybe like instead of going to college, you deal with this fucking retarded shit for like 2 years, and then you go and do something else to say you have office experience. I mean, it is good to know how much suffering you can take by watching other people just die miserable deaths in an office like this, to know that you never want to work in one ever again. Because the worst sort of people work there. The worst sort of people. Just bitter wives and fucking emasculated husbands and just the ugliest emotionally sort of people and some of the ugliest physically sort of people. I mean, it really does just take your soul to work for a shit company like this. And believe me, a lot of these people that work for United Health Group probably did need the behavioral health services and probably did have employee-based health care and probably did get screwed over by this fucking tiered service. I remember a buddy of mine who worked for UHC as well. He was having a kid, his first child. They gave him all sorts of shit. All sorts of shit. Fucking nuts. I'm so glad he doesn't work there anymore. I'm so glad that woman doesn't work there anymore. God bless her. And I'm so glad I don't work there anymore. I spent, 13 fucking years in the healthcare industry. From durable medical equipment to health insurance to actually working in healthcare on the administrative side. I've seen it all. It's bullshit on every end. You're getting fucked over as an employee and as a patient and as a customer. Forget it. So, lawsuits like this, what do you expect? I talked about the Pfizer one. I talked about the other one when it came to the painkillers. The antidepressants. It's no different. They don't give a shit. They're just finding ways to make money. Imagine if there's quality metrics, actual quality metrics on some of the shit that you took. Forget it. Forget it. What do we got here? This is what? Antidepressants? Why aren't they better now? This is by Mel Magazines. Why aren't antidepressants better by now? Because they were never good. They were never good. They were never good for you. All that shit does is turn young boys into fucking school shooters. Why would you take that shit? It's not going to get better for you. This is synthetic garbage. It's fucking terrible. Whether it's based on a methamphetamine, whether it's based on SSRIs, it's awful. It tries to paint a world that doesn't exist. These colors don't exist. You don't take this shit. It takes all the empathy out of your brain. It takes all the, it creates a fake path like nothing's wrong. Believe me, something's wrong. These pills aren't going to make it better. That's why they're not going to get better. They're a lie. You shouldn't be taking them. They almost fucking killed Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. So, he was on benzodiazepines. And he truly believed that if you're in a tough state, you can take these. And he was wrong. But he thought he could quit him cold turkey. You can't. You can't. And a lot of people are reconsidering. There's fucking class action lawsuits coming for all this stuff. So, yeah, just right off the top, why aren't antidepressants better by now? Because they were never good. Just like painkillers. They were never good for you. There are actual antidepressants that are out there that are good for you. One of them is called a good diet. One of them is called a proper lifestyle. One of them is called a good marriage or a great relationship. The other one is a hobby. The other one is a decent paying job or a career or owning your own business. Working out is another one. Proper digestion. Good gut biome. These are things you can take care of yourself by not having to ever pop one of these white labels. Never. Ever. They'll never be good. They'll never be good for you. Ever. If you have to resort to taking an SSRI or antidepressant, chances are you already have a shit ton of problems that could be caused by other. You already have a ton of problems that could be that happened prior to this situation that you could have solved the vast majority of them beforehand. I get it. There are other things sometimes, but they're not going to get better because these things aren't designed to be long term. I know they say they're long term. They're not. They're the same they're made by the same companies who made the painkillers that killed thousands of people. The same people that make the benzodiazepines that have killed children, that almost killed Dr. Peterson, and will kill many others. They're the same medicines people. They're the same companies that make these fucking Ritalins and Concertas and Adderalls that make kids shut up because they refuse to learn the garbage that's in schools right now. They're the same people that make these antidepressants and all this other bullshit that they're feeding to fucking high school students that make them into shooters that could be likely causes of suicides. They're the same people that are making these vaccines that are weakening after 6 to 8 months. It's all there. They all do it. They don't care. The one good thing they fucking made, the one thing they talk about, this ivermectin stuff that was made by Merck won't even touch it. They say it doesn't work, yet they're coming up with something that's just like it because they don't own the patent to it anymore. It's released as a general medication. You can buy it from fucking Canada. It's all bullshit. These pharmaceutical companies that make these antidepressants, these health insurance companies that cover it or sometimes don't, and these healthcare companies, as far as these hospitals and clinics that are bound by these healthcare companies, they're all in on it. They won't get better because they were never good. And you're being screwed at every turn. Now, I decided to dress up for this episode a little bit, keep things high and tight. One, because I had to go run to the store to get some ointments and stuff for my buddy's eyes. Don't bow. Good? Okay. You all right? But number two, this was a serious episode. A little more serious episode. We're going to get some Q&A in a minute. It's going to be a little bit silly. And we're going to end on a stance that I have no choice, but I have to take it. So in the meantime, you want to support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount's appreciated. Let's get right to this Q&A. We're going to close up shop for this week. All right. Can I get my employee reassigned to punish her for complaining about not getting paid? I'm not comfortable with one of my new staff members and how overconfident she is. Her work is great and she needed very little training, but she's got very big britches. Jane has only been with us for 2 months. Just today, she asked for a meeting with me and our payroll manager. It turns out payroll made an error, entered her direct deposit information that resulted in Jane not getting paid not once, but 2 times. Our company requires potential candidates to complete sample assignments during the interview process, and we pay them an hourly contractor rate. It turns out she didn't get paid for her assignment period or for the next full pay cycle. The payroll employee apologized directly to Jane in an email because it was an error in entering her information and not following up / fixing it. That resulted in Jane not getting paid. Jane was able to show emails back and forth where she checked in with the payroll employee and asked if it was fixed, which they confirmed it was. Today was payday and Jane didn't get paid. She checked with the employee again and they acknowledged that they thought it was fixed. It was upsetting for Jane. I understand, but I think she was out of line about the whole thing. People make mistakes. Neither payroll or I knew anything about it until today. We both apologized and assured her that the issue will be handled. After that, she looked at me and the payroll manager and said, I appreciate your apology, but I need you to both understand that this can't happen again. This has put me under financial strain and I can't continue to work for a company if this isn't corrected today. She's got a point. The payroll manager was heavily in agreement, but I was speechless that she'd speak to management like that. Oh, I'm not speechless. I totally get where she's coming from. Payroll handled the whole thing and cut her a check with the okay from HR. Good. Jane had referenced that not being paid put her in financial hardship and unable to pay bills. So HR allowed her to use the employee hardship fund and gave her $500 in gift cards so she can get groceries and gas and catch up on bills. I'm just kind of floored that she's getting gift cards after speaking to her superiors like that. Her superiors fucked up and she suffered because of it. I'm just kind of floored that she's getting gift cards and speaking to superiors. I'm also uncomfortable because why is our company responsible for her fiscal irresponsibility? Because she works for you. So she works for you for free? No, she works for you so she can get paid. Your job is to pay her on time. If you don't do so, then why is she working? Her personal finances and debts are not the company's responsibility. Yeah, but your responsibility is to pay her so she can take care of her financial responsibilities. Otherwise, I just don't think it's the company's responsibility to give her more than what she's earned. The extra $500 from the employee emergency refund to fix things for her if she overspent or didn't prioritize her bills or save smartly. No, she planned on getting paid accordingly, so she planned properly. It's called being a good employer. We also didn't know she was actually experiencing a financial hardship or claiming she was. HR allowed her paid time to go to the bank today and deposit her check. Good. I told our HR person that while it's not okay Jane getting paid, the way she approached it was uncalled for. HR told me she's right. It can't happen again, and it shouldn't happen at all. That's also true. I'm getting tired of the respect gap I'm seeing with younger staff. I think Jane would have been better suited in a different department. I'm not comfortable having her on my team since it's obvious she doesn't understand she's entry level and not in charge. Ooh, boy. Should I wait before suggesting she transfer to a different department? Okay. First of all, it's one thing if, let's see, she's been with you for 2 months. Okay. So let's just say you don't pay her bi-weekly. All right, so you pay her bi-weekly. She asked for a meeting. Okay, it turns out they made an error in entering her direct deposit information that resulted in Jane not getting paid once. Okay, so that's 2 weeks. She didn't get paid for 2 weeks. So that's 2 weeks. All right, let's look at it again. She didn't get paid, and this is definitely a corporate company, so it's definitely it's every 2 weeks. Not once, but 2 times. Okay, so that's 4 weeks. She hasn't gotten paid in an entire month. Okay. Our company requires potential candidates to complete a sample. Today was payday and Jane didn't get paid. Okay. So now we're at 6 weeks. Jane hasn't gotten paid. Once is understandable. 2 is frustrating. 3 is an outright slap in the face. I don't care. She would have been respectful. She went to HR. Like, in this situation, even though HR is in specific control. HR is in direct control of paychecks. That's how that works. And they didn't pay her. They fucked up. She's 100% right to go to them. And it can happen. And it happened again. And it can't happen again. And it happened again. That thing that wasn't supposed to happen in the beginning happened 3 times. 3. I get it if it's 2 weeks. And it's 4 weeks. It's like, all right, I gotta, I'm on, I gotta get my bills paid. It didn't happen again. It happened again. That's 6 weeks. She didn't get paid. So guess what? She has every right to gripe. That's 6 weeks of a company. Listen, if a company can make this type of mistake when it comes to its own employee, imagine the mistakes they're making when it comes to their customers. That's what she's trying to convey to you, that if you fucked up on 6 weeks of her pay, imagine what you're doing for your clients or your patients or your customers. Jesus Christ. Get the fucking hint? If you treat your entry-level employees like this, imagine the word of mouth that's going to go out on the interwebs about other people potentially wanting to work there. People don't have to work right now. Well, so they don't have to work. They don't want to work right now. They want that Grubhub cash, yo. And if you're not going to fucking pay them on time, they're not going to work for you. And word of mouth is going to travel very quickly, and it's going to make it harder for you to find real candidates. So I understand you have an emergency employee fund, and it was one of those things where she needed the money because you weren't fucking paying her. So $500, get over it. And if you don't want her on your team because it's just too late and you guys can't get along anymore, then transfer her. But don't say she's in the wrong because you were the guys who screwed up to begin with. You didn't pay her for 6 weeks, if that's the case. If it was bi-weekly, which it most likely is because it helps you save money on payroll. But if that's the case, it's 6 weeks. A full pay cycle. Pay your employees. Pay him on time. Pay him the amount that you agreed to in the very beginning. Or don't hire him if you can't fix your problems and you're going to fuck up like this. And the payroll manager was in agreement that this is something that shouldn't have happened. 3 times? So, no, I completely on the employee's side at this point. I don't care if this person's a fucking bitch or not. It shouldn't have happened. Period. You go to work, you get paid. You go to work, you get paid. You don't get paid, you don't go to work. Problem solved. Move on to the next one. Should I ask my doctor why he didn't describe me as pleasant in his written reports about me? How does a doctor decide whether they call a patient pleasant in their reports? I suffered a major injury a few years ago and have needed a few reconstructive surgeries. I will likely need more in the future. I found a surgeon who is excellent, aside from one thing. Every other doctor who has treated me so far describes me in their reports as pleasant. My surgeon does not, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. I'm on time, friendly, polite. I defer to his expertise instead of coming armed with my own ideas of what might be wrong, and I follow his treatment plans. He seems warm and friendly. He doesn't seem to dislike me, yet I don't warrant a pleasant? It took my last foot surgeon 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days after he performed surgery to describe me as pleasant. So maybe I have to wait? I think about this every hour of every day. What do I do? Should I ask him? Do you have any reader? Listen, it's not something you want to hedge your bets on. Right now, it's like, look, this is a specialist. So they don't specialize in finding out whether or not you're pleasant. This is a person who's helping you with reconstructive surgery. This is a very important thing. They don't give a shit about, this isn't like your family physician who's like, oh yeah, Sarah's a very nice person and she has these things yeah. No, that's what family physicians do. This is a specialist, a super specialist. This is what they do. They don't give a shit about all that stuff. Tell me what's wrong, see if I can fix it. That's their gig, nothing else. So I think you're kind of worrying about this with the wrong doctor. Some doctors are fucking deadpan. They do one thing and they do one thing really well. That's like reconstruct. So not something you need to be concerned about. All right, move on to the next one. Whew. Should I tell my I'm aggressive today. Should I tell my... How you doing, buddy? Good? Okay. Should I tell my ex-girlfriend that she needs to work on her tendency to be messy? My girlfriend of 5 years and I are splitting up. It's completely amicable. We realize we both want different things long term, so we'll be moving out of our shared apartment within the next month. She will probably be living with a roommate. Should I suggest that she work on her tendency to be messy? And if so, how? By messy, I mean she regularly leaves things throughout the apartment rather than putting them away or disposing of them. It bothered me a lot at first, but I learned to just clean up the small things myself or remind her when it got out of hand. It's possible that whomever she lives with next won't be as easygoing. But would saying anything at this point be helpful or sound like bitterness? No. Keep your mouth shut unless they ask. You don't say anything. It's not your responsibility at all anymore. At all. 0. The next person, if they are responsible, will bring it up to them when they're actually in the relationship. That's the thing. If they're in another relationship or they have another friendship or they're living with family, it's their responsibility to tell her, look, you're being messy. You need to pick up after yourself. That's it. So for you, your responsibility basically is it's over. You decided things weren't working out. We're going to go our separate ways. And that's pretty much it. It's not your job at all to be dealing with any of this shit. Okay? Just, it's done. Move on. Because chances are you also have problems too that she didn't bring up, maybe. Or maybe you're perfect. I don't know. Maybe you're just Mr. Wonderful. But either way, not your girlfriend anymore. Not your responsibility. You had your chance. So, we are at, let's see, we're about 52 minutes we're here. Okay. Look, I generally don't bring it up. I feel myself brushing up against it. And let me turn this down, actually. I feel myself I've been brushing up against it for the past few weeks, and this has to do. And I know I try really hard not to make this thing. I leave the religion and the sports and the politics out of it, but this one, the elephant in the room, obviously, is with all the recent mandates that have been pushed out and the war that's going on with, what do you call it? Authoritarian, totalitarian type of mentality that I've been seeing and the culture that's coming with it, and the threat it is on the way of life that we live in the United States. The freedom and the life to proceed, the freedom to pursue life, liberty, and meaning as these truths that we hold dear. And I feel like those are under attack right now. Well, I don't feel like it is. They are. And the recent healthcare mandates when it comes to personal religious freedoms and also one's own decision to do what they choose with their body, and also the massive lack of discussion in the mainstream news or with government when it comes to personal accountability with your own health and wellness, supplementation for things as vitamin D, the lack of discussion when it comes to monoclonal antibodies and ivermectin and other items of note when it comes to just overall other methods other than just you have to take this jab and that's it. Otherwise, at this point, in some states, you can't go to the grocery store, you can't frequent inside lifestyle outside of your own home. You can't can't send your kids to school. You basically can't even live in the state. And at this point, it's now getting to the point where it's causing you to lose your job. It's caused that decision to take place within my own family. It's causing people to either quit their jobs or get fired. And it's something that I have to bring up because when it comes to whether you choose to do what when it comes to your own life, you do you. It's not my decision to make it for you. You choose what you do with your life. That's it. And let the pieces fall where they may. There's a lot of information that I've been reading over for the past several months. I understand a lot of what's taking place. I understand how history works. I understand how it can be repeated, and I also understand how it can be erased. I also understand when it comes to things being unfair and people being cheated, and when large corporations jump on with big government and force people to make terrible, terrible decisions. It's a horrible thing. And now it's forced me to consider where is my line? When have you crossed my line? When I decide, fuck you, you're terrible, and I will make damn sure that if I have a decision, if I have a choice, if I have a vote, if I have a say, it will be heard. And when it came to that terrorist attack in Great Britain that killed young Safi, she was killed at an Ariana Grande concert when a terrorist came in and blew the place up and killed little Safi. That was one of those things, one of those moments. It was one of those people that changed my mind forever about certain things, about certain values and certain cultures. And I was like, okay, I have a line. You just crossed it. You killed a little girl. She never did anything to anyone. Never. When it comes to this person, this ESPN reporter, Allison Williams, I don't have to say anything beyond this. I can just walk away from this podcast right now and just let you listen to her words. She made a decision. So, let's see what she has to say.
So I know I've been a bit mum since releasing the statement I put out a few months ago now regarding my decision to not receive the COVID-19 vaccine. I just want to give everybody an update on my situation with ESPN. And a great producer once told me, don't bury the lead. So I have been denied my request for accommodation by ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, and effective next week, I will be separated from the company. First of all, thank you, everyone who reached out and texted, emailed, called, messaged me. I can't tell you how much light it brought in a really dark and difficult time. And I've also had a lot of people, and women in particular, reach out and share their stories in regards to fertility and getting the injection. And to the women who got it and have had and are having successful pregnancies and have babies in their arms, I'm beyond thrilled for you. Congratulations, that's amazing and terrific, and I believe you. To the women who have reached out and shared their experiences of getting the injection and subsequent miscarriages, menstrual irregularities, periods after menopause, I am so sorry that that is your experience, and I pray for you, and I believe you. Belief is a word I've been thinking about a lot lately, because in addition to the medical apprehensions regarding my desire to have another child in regards to receiving this injection, I am also so morally and ethically not aligned with this. And I've had to really dig deep and analyze my values and my morals, and ultimately I need to put them first. And the irony in all this is that a lot of those same values and principles I hold so dear are what made me a really good employee, and probably helped with the success that I've been able to have in my career. And it wasn't that long ago that those values, were aligned with the Walt Disney Company. In April, they sent out an email to all cast members, as they call employees, saying that they believed the vaccine was the best way forward, but ultimately that the decision to get it was a personal decision. Their values have clearly changed. I understand that. I know, I don't know what it's like to run a multi-billion-dollar company and to have shareholders and board members and financial quotas to answer to, and not to mention societal and I'm sure political pressures. So I respect that their values have changed. I had hoped they would respect that mine did not. And ultimately, I cannot put a paycheck over principle. And I will not sacrifice something that I believe and hold so strongly to maintain a career. A lot of people have brought up the moral obligation receiving the vaccine is to being a good citizen. And I weighed that, and I thought about the implications. We all want to be good neighbors. We all want to end this pandemic, but ultimately an injection that does not stop transmission and spread, for me, did not weigh in morally. So I want to just say too that I know I'm not the only one walking away from a career they love, a profession that is a passion. And so many of the people who are in the same situation as me are serving society and benefiting this country in ways I could never do. They are nurses, they are teachers, they are doctors, they are police officers and first responders. They are, most importantly, our military. And they too are pilots. They too are choosing to put their beliefs first. And I just want you all to know I stand with you. But I also want people to know who support these mandates that I fight for you. Because if this is the direction we take our country, there will come a time when the government or corporations mandate you to get something that does not align with your values. Power given is seldom returned. And when that day comes, I want you to at least know that we fought and we tried. I don't know what the future holds, obviously, for any of us. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the thought that the largest game I worked in my career, and the national championship game, might be the last college football game I work. But I'm going to focus on what I have to be thankful for. I'm going to hold on to my faith. I'm going to pray that things get better, and then I can see you on the television set in some capacity in some stadium covering some game soon. Until then, God bless. I'm gonna go hug my baby.